Good evening, everyone. This your girl, Lakeisha Mosley. I am so excited to chat with my speakers tonight. Now, y'all know your girl has taken My Mind is My Business in person this year. This is year 5, and I'm so excited about being able to do this in person right here in Houston. Listen, this is going to be an amazing event. I have some of the most amazing speakers, and they coming from all over. Okay, like my folks showing up for me, so I'm super excited to have one of an amazing lady. Listen, we met each other online. Now we're about to meet each other in person in just 2 weeks. So I'm going to introduce you to my friend, Dr. Erica Gamble. Hey, Dr.
Hey,
Gamble.
hi,
How
how are
are
you?
you?
Good, good.
I am
Excited.
yes, I'm so excited to chat with you first and foremost, but also the fact that we've been friends for a while online now, and
Yep,
now we finally get to meet in person.
I know. It's
And
gonna be so good.
yes, I'm so excited. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for number one saying yes, but number two also for believing in my mission, for believing in this whole cause about mental health. And I know we're going to get into what you do, which I think is an amazing initiative that you do for people. And so first I want to just start off with saying thank you. I'm so excited that you'll be joining us. But tell the folks who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Erica Gamble. I am the owner of the Wig Doctor Wig Boutique and now Mastectomy Center in Atlanta, Georgia. And we pretty much service people who are dealing with hair loss for whatever the reason is. And then we're also seeing women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer and will lose one breast, both breasts, or some breast tissue as a result of the diagnosis. And so we provide prosthetics, mastectomy bras, swimsuits, camisoles, whatever a woman needs to have that symmetry and to feel good about herself after these, kind of tragic things.
Right. I love that. I absolutely love that mission. Number one, I love the hair. I love the wigs. Number one, you're always looking fly, sis. So I love that. But even
Thank
to
you.
push your mission forward, so talk to us a little bit about how what a woman can go through. You mentioned breast cancer or hair loss of any type, how that can affect their mental health.
Wow. Listen, when I first started this business, I initially started this business thinking all things beauty and fun, right? We think we can change up a wig on Friday, look different on Saturday, something cute for church on Sunday. But,
Right.
what happened is, these women started coming to me saying, I have a problem. I am losing my hair and this is affecting my life. And it didn't dawn on me probably the first year I was in business because I'm thinking, okay, is this really a thing? But the more
Right.
and more women that I started seeing how they talked about, I don't leave the house. I took a leave of absence. I don't go to the grocery store because of the mental aspects of these, things that they go through. And until you go
Right.
through it or if you've been through it, you really don't know what that's like. And I think sometimes people take that lightly, like, oh, it's
Right.
just hair. But it's really, really, really hugely impacting. It
Right.
really is. It really is.
Right. And this when we think about it, like for most of us, and I'll say most of us because most people don't really go through any types of things like this. So for most of us, it's purely cosmetic. It is purely of us getting the braids, getting the weaves, getting the wigs, all of those things. It's really cosmetic for us. But when you think about a woman who has lost her hair due to alopecia, any type of disease, even injuries, I've heard some women
Yep.
have went
Yep.
through like had a car accident or something,
Yes.
even
Yes.
abuse.
Yes, all of that. All of those things, childbirth, abuse,
Yes,
divorce, because of the stress. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing too that you mentioned is I've seen a lot of women who had some injuries, car accidents where they've gone through windshields, or some of them have had brain
Right.
surgery where they had to cut a portion of the hair and the scalp, and the hair just doesn't grow back. And if we
Right.
think about it, this is the first thing people see when they see us. So
Right.
when you think about someone who has bald patches here and there, or some missing hair in the front, or just the look of it. And these are people who
Right.
have corporate career, jobs, or they're school
Exactly.
teachers, or whatever their profession is, and they're just like, I can't go through life like this is
Right.
devastating. And I
Right.
will mention, some of these women have also lost a spouse in the process, because a lot of my clients, once they've been diagnosed with breast cancer, the husband leaves. Once they start losing their hair because of alopecia or
Mhm.
autoimmune disease, the husband's like, oh, I can't deal with that, you're not attractive anymore. So talk about mental health and how this is just weighing so heavily on people's lives. It is a
Right.
thing. Yes.
Right. So you mentioned something that's very key that I think we don't think about too, is how hair loss affects your life personally, not even if we look at the corporate side of what it is, and how that stress can cause hair loss. And then the hair loss, affects the mental health. It's almost like a domino effect. Is that a good, accurate way of thinking about it?
Yeah, very accurate. Because a lot of times, obviously, we all have stress in our life that some of the stressors we can control, some of the things we can't. But
Right.
unfortunately, that stress just takes a toll on the body. And so, what I started seeing more of it was during the pandemic, because people were losing jobs, people were
Yes.
afraid, people thought they were going to die, they didn't know if they could eat, get groceries, and people started stressing out. And so we started doing some
Right.
research, and it was actually coined as COVID hair loss, but it's actually shock to the body.
Mm.
And so people, just freaked out, and as a result of that, they lost hair. And the results are in. It shows that stress, we know stress kills you. Stress can kill
Right.
you, but it starts to attack
Exactly.
certain, areas of the body. And for the most
Right.
part, in women, we start seeing it in hair loss for sure.
Exact. Oh my gosh. And when you think about stress, and even as it relates to mental, any type of mental illness. I know there was one person when I first started going to therapy, and I did group therapy for a little bit, and there
Hmm.
was someone who would like twirl her hair
Yes.
in her finger
Yeah.
and rip it out.
Yes. So that is called trichotillomania.
Okay.
And it is really a thing. And so what typically you see that in teens, like youth to teens, because
Mhm.
it's a coping mechanism. But I've also started seeing it in some younger adults, even into their 30s. Now, the oldest person that I've seen with trichotillomania was in her 60s. She had been doing this all of her life. But it's that twirling, pulling effect. And
Mhm.
so much so that they not just pull the hair on their head, but they pull eyebrows, eyelashes, arm hair, anywhere that there's hair to be pulled, they will pull.
Wow.
It's a
And when we
psychological thing.
Yes, and I was just gonna say, when you think about your mind, it affects everything. And I know for me, as someone who, I feel like I was thrust into this, although I love it, being someone who struggles with a mental illness. When you
Yeah.
think about what your mind controls, it controls a lot. And from your movements to your hair to just feeling good. Talk to us a little bit about how we as women can notice signs of maybe the stress, and or when that hair loss can occur if we're not taking care of ourselves.
So I've seen it kind of happen a couple of ways. I've seen the signs ignored because we just don't want to really face the fact that this is actually happening. We do
Mm-hmm.
things, as you mentioned earlier, like the cover ups. So I'm just going to put a wig on it. I'm just going to put a hat or,
Mm-hmm.
braid it or something, whatever, just to, not have to look at it. The more obvious things are going to be chemo, right? Because, as you go through chemo, most people will lose their hair. That's an obvious
Right.
kind of hair loss. Lupus and other autoimmune diseases, a lot of times people are like, I have this autoimmune. I had no idea it was going to affect my hair. That is a side effect. I think it
Okay.
just happens in waves, right? Because some people start losing hair younger. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, when the parents are involved, they're able to help cope and deal with it. But I've
Right.
seen clients who just started losing hair at 30 and 40, just out of the blue. It's just like my hair just started falling out.
Mm.
They have no idea why. Some of them don't even know that they have an autoimmune disease or some underlying issue,
Mm-hmm.
that is actually causing it. What I say is, if you start to see signs, you need to get things checked, right? We have to
Right.
stop ignoring things. A lot of my clients tell me they compartmentalize things. So although I know that I'm losing my hair, my self-esteem is shot, I feel bad,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to figure out a way to function, and they don't deal with it. So that creates
Right.
other things, and that thing just turns into another thing, and now you got all of these things. So it's
Right.
it's it's just the dealing with it, right? And so at the end
Right.
of the day, it's difficult, but there are ways to kind of not fix it, but to manage it,
Right.
right? And handle it.
Right.
And for everybody that's different. But back to those that have trichotillomania, most of those that have the trick are seeing counselors, psychiatrists, or some sort of therapist, because it,
That's
it
good.
really yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Oh my God, because people think, oh, it's just hair, but it's really not just hair, Dr. Gamble. It is more than just hair.
Yeah. It is. It is. It's, a lot of ladies, for them, it's not so much that they had great hair, or that they
Yeah.
had thick hair, or that they had long hair, but they had hair. This is like my
Yep.
identifier for some people. And they're like, wow, and now I can see right through it. I'm
Yeah.
completely, bald here, or you can see scalp or whatever, and then they feel less attract, right? Maybe my husband
Right.
doesn't look at me the same. Maybe, and I see a lot of women that are single. It's really concerning, because now it
Right.
just is like, okay, I'm in this single space, I'm dating. How do I show up like this? How do I,
Right.
let a man know that I've lost hair, or that I have patches? It's a lot. It
Exactly.
really, really is a lot. And we don't talk about this enough, because again, I think a
Exactly.
lot of people put it in a pocket as, oh, well, throw a wig on or do this or do that. It's just not that
Right.
simple for some people.
Right. It's really not. And I think too, you feel conscious about how you look. I know one of the things when I was first diagnosed with high functioning depression, I didn't even know what to do with myself
Yeah.
at first. But one of the things that my therapist told me, besides clear my space, was to just fix myself up. He was like, just go get your hair done.
Yeah.
Just go get your nails done, or whatever your thing is to get done. And I always noticed how, and I mean, I'm a regular at the salon, but when I started to pay attention I do feel a lot better. I
Yeah.
do feel great after my hairstylist name is Christy. And so I tease her that she has these magic hands with wash. Like, I don't even have shampoo. I don't need it. She got it at
Yeah.
her shop. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So I go
Yeah.
get a Christy wash and I feel so much better just to wash. Feels so
Just
good.
that. Just that small thing. But you know what? Honestly, Lakeisha, unfortunately, some of the women do come to me, and they will put a wig on. I turn them around, they look beautiful, but they cannot bring themselves to walking out the door with the wig, because
Oh,
the mental aspect still
mhm,
says, this is not my hair.
right.
Somebody may see me and recognize that this is not my hair, this is a wig. I still don't feel good. So unfortunately, for a lot of them, they leave out the same way that they came.
That they
And
came in.
and that's when I really, really start to realize that this is huge, right? This is
Right.
huge because you can put on the best wig, you can put on the longest wig, the biggest wig, the whatever,
Right.
but if you don't feel good here and your
Exactly.
mental is not where it needs to be, it none of that matters because you don't see yourself the same way as other
Right.
people do or vice versa. So if you're not feeling good, you're just not feeling good. It doesn't
Right.
matter.
Dr. Gamble, I would have never thought that if they come and they see these beautiful wigs that you have, and already know how calming and just how encouraging you are, that they still feel like I can't walk out of here with this on because this is not mine.
They really do. They really do. And it's sad. It makes me sad, because for me, it's not about the selling aspect, right? You can,
Exactly.
anybody can sell and buy. It's not about that. But when I'm looking at this person and I'm thinking, wow, so you're right. You have lost hair. You're right. It doesn't look the greatest. You do have a job or responsibility that you need to show
Right.
up and, look your best, right? And feel good. At least putting
Exactly.
something on temporarily can make, and they just won't do it. Just won't do it.
Just one. Oh my gosh, that's heartbreaking to hear
Yes.
that. So let's look. So we looked at it from just a woman in general. So, this conference focuses on women in business and leadership. And to me, we wear lots of masks as well as hats when it
Yes.
comes to just being. And one of the things that I have really been passionate about is us embracing our mental wellness, like really embracing who we are, but also in creating this safe space for us to be able to go to be able to talk to people, someone like-minded like us. Tell
Mm-hmm.
us how do you see corporate women like us who, have to go in these spaces and our hair has to be a certain way, or we don't even feel confident about how we wear these pieces that we may acquire.
Yeah, that's tough. So my background, I worked in corporate for about 20
Mhm.
years and I also teach and I've been teaching for about the same 20, 24 years.
Yes.
I've seen this on all sides, right? And it can be very difficult. But for me in my business, what I've actually, it's like funny how we're having this conversation and I'm coming to this conference to talk, but there may be somebody there. Listen, this is what collaboration is about, right? Because I often think
Right.
about my business is not just it's not a space of necessarily beauty. I'm seeing people who are
Mhm.
sick, who have problems, who have medical
Right.
issues. So how do we bring in the coaching aspect, right? Because I'm more than just, like I said, I'm not a salesperson. They come in and
Exactly.
they tell me their life story. So this becomes therapy. It's therapeutic for some
Right.
people. They can talk about it. They do feel that this is a safe space and they trust me. So I often think about how can I take this to the next level? Because so
Right.
many of these women, to your point, with these corporate jobs and in the boardroom, male dominant spaces, sometimes the
Yes.
only brown people in the room. I used to be the only
Right.
brown person in the room. And I used to look around and I'm thinking, does my hair, am I fitting in? Right? Because my
Right.
hair don't look like theirs, and is it
Right.
going to be a question? Can I show up like this and feel good?
Right.
Or do I have to bring it down and show up how I think they want me to look?
Right.
And it's
Right.
difficult. I think we need to bring some, I don't know, therapist or some kind of coaching into these
Mhm.
roles, into these
Yes.
corporations, and there's money
Yes.
there for it because people, you
Exactly.
know what, it affects your productivity. It affects
Yes.
listen, people will call off work when the hair ain't right.
Right.
People will take off work. They will not show up. And when they show up, they're so focused on this that they don't, nothing
Right.
else matters. So
Right.
I definitely believe that there is some sort of space available
Right.
for this, for sure.
Right.
For
I love
sure.
that you I love that you said that because see, you already like it's forward thinking for me as I build out this mental health agency. And one of the things that I have written on this vision board for this is how does our beauty, how does our hair affect us when we go into spaces? You just opened my eyes, Dr. Gamma, that it's beyond beauty. It's
Yeah.
not just about do I look good, but it's do I feel good in these certain spaces? Because I can admit that I feel like that as well in some of in the position that I have at my 9 to 5 job, I remember when my hair first started to go gray, and I was like, I need to keep dyeing this. And then my
Yep.
stylist was like, look, we not dyeing no more. It's not
Yeah.
staying. 2 weeks later, and it's just damaging your hair because my hair is all natural. And then
Yeah.
I would feel away because my hair is naturally curly.
Yep.
Like, okay, is that accepted? What will
Yeah.
people say? What will people
Yeah.
think? And so I don't always feel good when it's curly, but I'll go and get it straightened. And so finally she was like, look, we're gonna have to alternate between
Yeah.
the two because if you want to keep it healthy, you're aging. And I was like, oh, I am
Yeah.
aging. Like it, and the gray hair is a different texture than
It's
the
different.
common hair.
It's different. Yeah, and that's the thing too, embracing that. I do see a lot of that too. They're like, I'm not ready to go gray. I do not want to stop dyeing my hair. And they come in with the brittle, broken, because they're
Yes,
coloring it every week, every 2 weeks, every month, because they just don't want that gray to show and not really embracing, we are
right.
aging. If we're blessed and if
That
we are
part.
aging. So some people didn't get here. So yeah, we're aging. We have to accept
Right,
it and embrace it. There's nothing we can do about it. But here's the thing again, when you're not feeling good, as you stated, when you're at
right,
work, you're focused on you. So you're like, I'm not feeling good. I don't look good. Are
right,
people looking at me? I'm in this meeting. You're not getting no work done
right.
because at the end of the day, all you're thinking about is you, and you're
Yep,
not think your productivity level is not there, and that's a huge impact, not just to you
right,
but also to the workplace too, if you're not getting anything done.
right, right.
Yeah, there is space for this and people need to talk about it.
Yes. Yes. I love that you brought up the productivity because again, when you're in corporate, productivity is number one. So like
Yeah.
I tell folks, and not that I have this issue at my job. I actually love where I work at. I have a leader who embraces whatever our little quirks are
Yeah.
that help us be productive. And so, I hear people say, "Oh, I can't wait to get a corporate job," and I'm like, "Baby, if you can't do what you're doing over there to be productive, you know, you can't come in corporate and do the same thing because you
Yeah.
literally are judged by or your value, quote unquote, worth is based
Absolutely.
on how much your production is. And so
Yes.
it's a different level than, like people say, oh, at Amazon, you have to produce this many pieces per hour, blah, 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 blah. Oh,
Sure.
no. If they only knew what it was like for us, it's
Yeah.
money. That's the
Yeah.
equivalence of our productivity.
Absolutely. It matters. And you got to
Yep.
show up feeling good and being your full authentic self. And so
Right.
when you have these issues, as many people do, all of us are struggling with something, but mental
Right.
health matters. And so, and again, and for a lot of us that have a lot of businesses, there's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of
Right.
counselors, therapists. We got to start really making sure that people are
Right.
bringing these things to the forefront because there's so many people
Right.
who are masking these things,
Right.
and putting a band-aid on it, right? And again, as I stated,
Yes.
I can sell a wig to you, but is that helping the inner you, right?
Right.
We're putting a band-aid on the outside, and so you can look good for your 8 hours or 6 hours or whatever. But
Right.
what's your heart posture, and what
Exactly.
does that look like? And if it's affecting your mental, then you can look good, you can look great,
That's
but
true.
it's really not going to matter. So these things are so super, super important. And we got to
Yes.
continue to focus in on these things, talk about them, know that we're not alone. You're not the
Right.
only one dealing with this. There's help, there's support, there's resources, and
Right.
we got to be in this together.
Right. And I love that you say about the corporate responsibility because I think, companies are big on sustainability,
Yeah.
but your
Yeah.
human capital is one of the key things that you really have to be very cognizant of because if we're talking about sustainability, we're talking about the saving,
Yeah.
how we don't want to be wasteful with
Yep.
things. And so we have to consider, the people that we have that work for us, with us, and all of these different things. And so, what do you think that corporations can do better or can start to do to help not just Black women, because
Yeah,
there could be women of other races who have the same issue.
yeah, there are. I think corporations can start listening a little bit better, making sure that they have the right people in place, and if they don't, spend the money, right? So
Yes.
there are some of us who are life coaches or trained therapists or whatever it is. Let us in, right? Let us go
Yeah.
in. Let's do lunch and learns. Let's do educational seminars, and also incorporate these things into your benefits. These
Right.
things, these are things that people need. So we got to take the cosmetic off the table, and
Right.
perhaps this is a, for a woman who has alopecia, and will never regain her hair, chances are she's going to be a wig wearer for the rest of her life. Well, there's
Right.
expense that's associated with that. Perhaps, it could be a huge expense. So
Right.
incorporate those things into your benefits. Why not? It's a benefit, right? And so
Exactly.
a lot of times insurance companies don't want to pay for these things, and that's a whole other issue. But because of the cosmetic aspect
Mm-hmm.
of it and what it sounds like, and what people are doing on TikTok and social, it just looks fun, and entertainment, and entertainers are wearing these things and all
Right.
of this. But no, this is real people, real lives, real impact.
Right.
And a lot of people just don't have the money, the financial means to really get the things that they need, because you can go to a
Right.
beauty supply store and get a wig for $20 and $30. And while there's nothing wrong with that, is it making you feel good, and is it giving you what
Right.
you need, and is it going to
Right.
last?
Right.
So yeah,
That's
there's a
so
lot of things, but we know that these corporations have big money, and they
mm-hmm.
have the money and the resources to spend to get their people. If you want your people to show up feeling good, looking better, being
Right.
productive, and making a
Yes.
difference, then allow these allowable things so that we can work together and make it happen.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that you brought up the whole having the money, but also the insurance piece. And I think that's where the advocacy comes in, for those of us who know, like, how do we advocate for these particular things? I think sometimes is that there's a lack of knowledge
Yes.
sometimes for corporations, because we sometimes struggle in silence. We won't even say that
No.
we dealing with something, and sometimes people just so focused on other stuff, they're not paying attention to that your productivities went down. They're not
Yeah.
paying attention to either you calling in or you're not showing up, just all of these different things that can affect you. And your hair, we say it's our crown and glory. It's like the first, like you just said, it's the first
Right.
thing that people see. It's how we feel about ourselves that make us feel good. And we just have to be more vocal about it, and also to learn how to advocate for ourselves. But also, I love that, you are there's a talk of like the coaching piece, because I know as I build out this agency, I definitely want to incorporate something like that in, because it's key.
Yes.
I
You
can't
have
go
to.
to work if I don't feel right.
Yeah, and I think it would be good. And I don't know now. A lot of people are working from home, and there's a lot of change that's happened in the
Right.
corporate world, of course. But there are still people who are, boots on the ground, and I
Yes.
think it would be good for a corporate coach, right? And whatever, I don't know what they would call it, not etiquette, but I don't know, not whatever the title would be, but somebody that they
Right.
can go to, right? A lot of these companies have EAP, employee assistance,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a number
Mm-hmm.
that you can call. That's a little different. You're calling a number saying, "Hey, I need to
Right.
talk to somebody," and while that's great, and of course you have your suicide hotlines, all of those
Yes.
necessary things, we still need to have that, maybe that person in the middle, the buffer, right?
Right.
Because it's not
Yes.
suicidal, it's not to that point, but it's
Right.
also not where it doesn't need to be discussed. Somebody in the middle that can
Exactly.
kind of meet you halfway and understand. Because
Right.
listen, when I say I talk to these women who are like, this has changed my life. I've lost weight.
Yeah.
I can't eat. I cannot show
Right.
up. I'm not going to the grocery store. I don't even go to my kids' games. I'm got a hat on and I'm ducking down. It's just like, wow,
Right.
wow.
Right.
This
That's
is
heavy.
taking over my whole life.
Right. Right.
This one thing. So
Right.
it's huge.
That's heavy. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's so. it's so important to talk about this. And I just want to say good evening to those of you who are just joining us. I am talking to the fabulous Dr. Erica Gamble. She is one of my fabulous speakers for My Mind is My Business. And so we are talking not just about hair, but how it affects you mentally. So, Dr. Gamble, let's talk about the trauma effects of that because we kind of touched on that, you know, initially, but like you mentioned, spouses leave, people shun you, things happen where you are all alone. What do you see? What are some trauma responses that you've seen or that could affect a person who has hair loss?
Yeah, all of those things. And so again, the self-esteem, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
huge. I was shocked to know that to hear that a spouse would leave someone because they lost their hair.
Yeah.
Also too, the flip side of that is that you have that same spouse who says, I don't want my wife wearing a wig. So, I've lost my hair. There's really no
Right.
stylability, nothing that I can do with what I have, but you don't want me to wear a wig. So now I'm forced to do what? And here it is
Right.
again, we're dancing to somebody else's tune. You have to feel good no matter what.
Exactly.
The I think the depression, I've heard that sets in a lot because it's like, and I've seen
Oh
some
yeah.
women who have had, hair, long, thick, natural, beautiful hair, and now down to nothing, whether it's from
Right.
chemo or alopecia or medication or whatever it is. And it's just like, they tell me that they feel like a part of them has left, and that was
Mm.
a part of me. That was a huge part of me. While some people feel like, oh, it's just hair, I can cut it. Some people go
Right.
from, shaving their head to wearing a pixie, to growing it out, to putting on a wig, to doing all this, and it's just
Right.
hair to them. But for those who are forced into these positions, it's not the
Mm-hmm.
same. And so
Right.
it's definitely detrimental to the point where, yeah, depression sets in. It's life
Right.
changing. Some of these people can't even get out of the bed and don't even
Yes.
want to get dressed because the self esteem has just been largely impacted. And
Right.
it's like, wow, and nobody, I guess, unless you've walked through this or been through this with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you just wouldn't think of it like that. But it
Right.
is, it's huge.
It is huge. I can recall when um, I was going through a mental health crisis, and that was when I initially was diagnosed. I didn't know what was going on with me. I noticed hair loss. I
Yeah.
was very lethargic. And it all, like we said, it's all a trickle down. Like it just affects. So if you're not eating, you're not getting nutrients. Your hair's not getting what it is. You're not drinking water. Like
Yeah.
it's just all just affects everything. And I can remember like having thinning hair at the top, and my thing was, oh my gosh, what do I do? Most of the times I'm just wearing braids or some protective style. But even when we look at protective styles, they at some point have to come out. They could
True.
be detrimental if you're
Yeah.
not taking care of your real hair.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, that band-aid effect, right? So you can
Hmm.
throw on a wig and that's great. Whatever. You can throw on a hat, that's great. But if you're not taking care of the internal, and that's with
Right.
everything. That's everything, right? Your hair underneath that wig needs to be taken care of. Your
Right.
your body has to be taken care of in order to, help with these things. And you mentioned some things, nutrition. People don't think about diet, exercise,
Yes.
your health matters, because that's the first thing when I'm seeing people for a hair loss consultation. I ask about 75 questions. But in those
Right.
questions, the first things I'm asking about is your health, your diet, your exercise.
Yes.
What are you eating? Are you drinking water? What medications are you on? What stressors
Right.
do you have in your life? What's affecting you? And most of the
Right.
time they just breeze by it because they're thinking that's not the reason why I'm losing hair. Oh, that's not,
Right.
yeah. Those are largely the reasons why you could be losing hair, because of those
Right.
underlying things that you think, oh, that's just nothing. That's just a part of life. No, ma'am, it is not. It is
Right.
not. All of that is impacting. And even women who have babies, when you're pregnant, sometimes the pregnancy is great, you're
Yes.
glowing, your nails grow, your hair. As soon as that baby just sucks everything out of you. And now it's just like, I got a
Yes.
huge bald spot. This baby done sucked all my
Right.
hair. It happens. And so
Right.
don't even that. And then we talk about postpartum depression. Well, just think about that.
Mm-hmm.
You had this baby, you suffering from postpartum depression, and now you bald.
Yes.
It can't get no worse, right? It's just like, what
Yep.
else? What else? So think about that. and
Yep.
and so all of those things. And I've had divorcees too. They're like, hey, me and my husband decided we're gonna call it quits, I'm getting a divorce. I see them 3 weeks later, they bald, because the
Yes.
stress
That's
just came.
the
It just
stress.
it,
Yep.
it can just come from boom, and now it's just like, man. And I've
Right.
literally seen that with my client. She filed for divorce, or her husband filed for divorce, and probably within 2-3 months, hair gone and never has come back.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So even with the hair loss, due to stress, so the hair follicles or whatever stops the growth, like it will never grow back again, or it could never grow back again.
It could. It just depends on the situation. So where there's
Mhm.
no blood flowing, there will be no growth. So
Right.
in those instances, that could be a scar or scar tissue. It could be
Mm.
damaged. So if someone has had tight braids, or um, the traction, right, from a weave or
Yes.
something like that. Yeah, if the follicles are dead, then there will be no growth. That's why you see people who have patchy spots, and maybe hair here, but not here, hair
Yeah.
here, not there, because, some of those areas just are so impacted that the hair just won't grow. So once the follicles are
It won't
dead, they're
grow.
just no. But I've seen other instances where a person is a little bit younger in age,
Hmm.
right? She hasn't gone through menopause or perimenopause. She hasn't
Hmm.
had children. She's not on any medication. She's somewhat healthy. That's
Right.
a person who you could do some treatments, you could do some head massages, you could do scalp massages, you can do all the things, and she could see some potential growth.
Okay.
So it really just
Hmm.
depends on you, your
Right.
age, your body, your health, what you got going on is going to be largely dependent on whether or not your hair can sustain.
Right. Right. And when you mentioned, mothers, because a lot of times, I noticed that we're getting more time off when we have babies. But if we're breastfeeding, and I've heard it happen even if they're not breastfeeding, but the baby, it's healthy for the baby to breastfeed, it's healthy to do all these things, but it just sucks the life out of the mother. And when I had someone tell me they had like teeth that started to like rot, and they said their hair suffered the most, like their hair, it was just horrible. I don't think we consider those things too when it comes to like women,
Yeah,
trying to like get back into society, get back
yeah,
to normal, I'll say, after you have a baby. And now here
yeah.
it is, baby, giving the baby nutrients. Now I don't have any.
Yeah, the baby got all his hair, now I'm bald. Yeah. And I don't know. I might be okay with giving my baby my hair if that's what it takes. But again, it
Right,
is, because most of the time too, after a woman has a baby, you're looking at the weight.
yes,
I'm already heavy. I'm trying to lose this weight. I'm trying to get back to my natural self. Now I got some hair loss, and like you said, teeth issues, skin issues. There's a
right,
lot of other things. And sometimes you find underlying things after you've delivered a baby. Now you have some other health issues, that are discovered.
right,
So I think all of it, because at the end of the day, it's just like beauty in a basket. When we talk about
right,
these things, we want to look and how we want to feel. We want our skin to be good. We want our hair to be good. We want our nails to be good. We want our body to be good.
right,
But we have to address all of these things that are happening in order for us to do
right,
that. And like you said earlier, let's face it, we're aging. And as we get older, things shift
exactly,
and change. And so we have to
right,
address them. We can't just not address them. And to me, the
exactly,
mind and the mental health is one of the biggest things that I think people just, it's easy just to
right,
shove it under the rug and blame everybody else, and, never really be accountable for the things that are happening within yourself. This is why we
right,
have to do better about, and not just therapy, because I find that sounds cliche now. Everybody's like, oh, I got a therapist. It's almost just like a running joke with people. Oh, I go to therapy 3 days a
yes,
week. I go to therapy. That's all well and good, but you got to do the work. And so
exactly.
We got to take that back too. Anybody can sign up and go to therapy, but how are we doing therapy? Are you doing the
Right,
work? Are you working on you? Are you working on those things? Are you talking through? Are you even telling the truth? Because some people go to therapy and don't even tell the truth. Are you telling the truth
right,
about what's really happening? And then are we working on fixing
right,
ourselves?
right. You just dropped a whole bomb and a half. Okay. Doing the work, because that is one thing that is key when it comes to therapy.
Yeah.
I hear people say, oh, therapy, it don't work. I went one time, and I'm like, one time, I'm still in therapy.
Yeah.
Probably will be in therapy till I leave here.
Yeah.
I may progress to a different type of therapist,
Sure.
but it's the work that you have to put in. And sometimes I will say the biggest piece for me was that self-awareness, like holding that mirror up and like, oh girl,
You
like
got to
yeah,
look at
you
you. It's you. It starts with you because a
yes,
lot of times too, people use therapy as a way to say, "Oh, I want to talk to my therapist about this person." Because
right,
this person, I want the therapist to agree with me that this person is wrong. So we can all, but it's not about that because that
right,
that person could be wrong and that person could have wronged you. However, we gotta
exactly,
that's over there. So how are now we working on ourselves to be
right.
better?
Right. Exactly. And I find, so I've had several therapists, but the one that I have now is by far my favorite. But I joke, and y'all probably see me say this, like I fire him like every session because he doesn't let me make it. But I find the better, and I'll just say this is my opinion, the better therapists don't give you advice. If I say something like I don't know what I'm gonna do about X, Y, and Z, it's so hard. What do you think I should do? What do you think you should do? Like they make me critically think about what I'm saying because we got the answers.
We
Sometimes
got
we
the
just need
answer.
to help pull them out.
Yeah. That's it. You need the help pulling it out. You need maybe I know I have the answer. I just want confirmation that this is the right answer. I'm second guessing this,
Right.
and yeah, how can you help me? But you're right. Some of them are just like they just taking notes and they're like, "Hey, I'm listening, listening,
Mhm.
listening. The hour is up. I'll see you next week." And then
Right.
and you find yourself going week after week, month after month, but there's no action.
Right.
Nothing's happened. Nothing's changed. So yeah,
Right.
that's not it. That definitely is not it. No, we got to do
Right.
the work. Got to look. We got to look here, and we got to work on us.
Right. I love that you said, calling out, because I do that. I don't have a problem calling out bad therapy,
Yeah,
because I feel like there's already a disparity when it comes to people of color, or I'll say Black people in particular, because a lot of times we have to leave our neighborhoods to go to other people's neighborhoods in order to get good therapy help. Anyway,
yeah,
when
yeah,
and a lot of that is based off of who we voting for locally, that we're not paying attention to what their initiatives are.
no,
But we have a responsibility to find the right therapist. But I also feel like there's still so much work that can be done in this realm for people of color as it relates to therapy.
yeah, absolutely. And we have to kind of relinquish it as a bad thing and look
Yes,
at it as a self-help tool because there's nothing
yes,
wrong with it. Even if you some people just it's a method, right? Just like going
right,
to the chiropractor. It's a way of life, right? It's just like
right,
this is my maintenance. And so,
exactly,
if you're in a good place, that's great. You can still go for maintenance, because listen, life is gonna happen. No, I don't care. If we keep living, it's gonna
right.
storm. It may not storm today. It might be sunny. It's gonna storm next week. It's gonna storm next month. The storms are gonna come. My pastor just preached on this. Storms. They coming.
Yes,
We don't know the day, hour, time. We don't know when. We don't know how bad it's gonna be. We don't know, but it's
right,
it's coming. If we keep living, it's going to come, and
right,
that's just the way it is. So all of these things, just like most of the people that I see say, never in a million years that I think I would be diagnosed with cancer. Never in a million years that I think I would lose my hair. Never in a million years that I think my husband would leave because I've lost my hair. That's just
right.
the storm is coming, and hey, the only way out is through. So we got to go through it.
Exactly.
And then
Exactly.
it's how you come out on the other side. Then you move forward, but we can't stay in that thing.
Right. I love how
Extend.
you said that. I love, love, love that. So let's add Miss Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer.
Hello.
How
Hi.
you doing, gorgeous?
I am great. So I literally not paying attention. I got the inbox that we were doing this. I've been watching the live this entire time. I commented in the chat, "Hey ladies, I'm just on here." I'm like, okay, I sent you a DM like it'll be my turn soon. I'm just waiting. And I'm like, why don't I go read the instructions that was given? So I apologize. I'm doing 800 things and did not read the instructions. But I've been here, I've been listening, and I've been so intrigued.
We appreciate you.
I know she probably like, why is she just watching and not joining like she's supposed to? I'm sorry.
Now,
And you
glad
know,
you're
it's
here.
hard to like type when you engage
Yeah.
or whatever.
Listen, I'm just sitting here working. I'm like, this is so good. I'm like, okay. She'll tell me whenever it's my turn. All right, I'm just listening.
Well, thank you so much, number one, for joining. But number two, for just saying yes to being a part. I absolutely love your socials as well as Dr. Gamble's, transformative. You don't let folks make it, Jennifer. You really cause it out. I love that about you. And that's one thing, like Dr. Gamble just said, about doing the therapy work. But I want people to know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Jennifer Allen. I am the owner and creator and founder of Just Elope. We are an elopement and micro wedding planning service here in Dallas, and we provide all-inclusive elopement. So we provide the venue, the officiant, the photographer, and the day of coordinator, and literally all couples have to do is show up. You choose from a menu, essentially on our website of the location that you would like, and all you have to do on your wedding day is walk through the doors, and we take care of everything else. We specialize in weddings from 0 to 50 guests, and we partner with venues that on an ordinary wedding day may cost anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000 to get married there. But because we are carving out 2-hour time slots, filling in their scheduling gaps, we get a discount and we are a reoccurring customer, unlike that once in a lifetime bride that's coming in. So we're able to pass those savings off to our couples with our bundled service. And we launched in 2017. We've married about 450 couples since then. I've had the opportunity to appear as an officiant on Netflix Love is Blind. I married Debrat and Judy on WeTV. I've been in Essence, you name it. I've had some great press. I get to speak at My Mind is My Business. I mean, to me, all those things hold the same weight. Whenever I meet couples, lately we've kind of been getting some what they would consider to be higher clientele, and they'll say, hey, I'm reaching out on behalf of my celebrity client. And I'm like, well, they'll fit in great because all of our clients are celebrity clients. Like, in my opinion, anybody that's paying me is a celebrity because the price is the price, right? So it it does not matter if you told me you wanted your 2 dogs to get married and you got the invoice. Come on, Pooch, come on. Because we're gonna make it happen. Everybody's the same, and I'm gonna give everybody award-winning customer service every single time. But yes, I think that this conference is something that is so important because so many people, especially somebody like myself, who does deal with imposter syndrome, and that is something that is difficult for me because I have no formal wedding training. I'm a college dropout. I had no intentions. I'm a wife and mom of 3 boys. I had no intentions of this being my life path. But because of my own experience of us getting married at City Hall the day my husband left for deployment and not being able to have a local option, our only option was going to Vegas or going to City Hall. And so I saw a void in the market. I decided to fill it, and it served me and my family well up until this point, and so it's that imposter syndrome does kick in when I am amongst other wedding professionals who are like, oh, I've been planning for this and I have this certification and this. And they're like, what about you? I'm like, girl, it's all vibes over here. Like, it's all vibes. Like, and I love it. I found what I'm great at. I think that a lot of people are good at a lot of things. Something to say that you found something that you do exceptionally well. Right. And I found something that I do exceptionally well, and I've zeroed in on that. I don't try to say, oh, I want to plan these big, lavish $200,000-$300,000 weddings with 150 people and this sort of thing. I specialize in creating moments for couples who want 0 to 50 yes. I do that well. Exactly. The other piece, I would probably do good because the project management of it and the creativity and all that, I would probably do a good job at it. But would I do it exceptionally well to where that's what that bride deserved? Right. And if I can't give you exceptional, like I don't want to give you nothing because this is your wedding and you deserve exceptional experience.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that, because in the 12 years that I have been doing events, nobody has never asked me for a certification. Period. Point blank. They don't even care. They care about the expertise. And again, it's about finding your niche, finding what works for you. And sometimes that transitions, for me, it pivoted. COVID happened and I went fully online and got really, really good at online. And then it was like, okay, y'all, we got to go outside now. We got to go outside. So you got to go back
100%
to what it was. Yes.
COVID definitely muddied the waters. I would say, in the sense of when people we would be interviewed or different things, and they'll say like, so how's your business pivoted since COVID? And I'm like, this is no pivot, baby. This is what it was from day one, right? So a lot of businesses did have to create this pivot because they were doing these big weddings, and they're like, okay, how do we keep making money when there's this restriction put in place and people aren't comfortable? And so now you do see a lot more of the elopement and micro wedding companies. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. I tell folks all the time, baby, listen, there's billions of people in this world. You can find a client.
Thank you.
I'm not mad at you. Do your thing. Do what you need to do for you to be a success, to take care of your family. Like, it doesn't make or break me if somebody else decides tomorrow to start a business. Starting something and being able to sustain it is two different things.
Very.
And that's kind of like with getting married. Anybody can get married. I've been married for 14 years. And in the 14 years that I've been married, it has been days where I am married to you because I love you more than I could see, more than I could breathe. And there's other days where I am married to you because, baby, we own this house. I'm married to you because you got these keys. I'm married to you because your name wrapped up in everything I got going. And eventually it cycles back to, I'm married to you. I love you more than I can breathe. And it is a natural progression. And anybody that would tell me otherwise, I would not believe, because it's impossible to be everything to somebody all the time.
That's right.
Yes. It's impossible for them to be everything to you and you to be everything to them. My husband and I have been together since 19. So the growth that we've experienced, it's one thing to grow up, but it's another thing to grow up in front of somebody and have to have all of your flaws on display. Then you become a father. Then you become a mother. You're trying to figure out how to be yourself, and now you somebody's husband, wife, and daddy. So it's one of those things where it's like, even in marriage, you have these moments of imposter syndrome of, are we doing it right? Is this, like, we're at this space now where it's like life is so good for so long that it's
Yeah.
like, what's happening here? We've been
When the shoe go drop?
like it's been years that this has been like, wow, this is
Right.
awesome. But I realize it's because we communicate so much better. We fight better. Because that's the norm. You get on my nerve, I get on your nerve, these kids get on my nerve. Like everybody is on each other's nerve because we both work from home. So we're together all day.
All day. Yeah.
So at some point, I get on my own nerve. I'm like, girl, go to sleep. You doing too much today.
That's me.
4,000 tabs open. You just doing too much. Lay down. So of course, I'm gonna feel that way about somebody else. Cause see, now you talking to me.
Right.
I'm already on my own nerve, and now you talking to me.
Yes. Yeah. That's so true. I love what you just said. Dr. Gamble, I want to pose that question to you about the pivot and how COVID affected your business, if it affected it at all.
Well, I think for me, because I was seeing so many people who were sick, and a lot of the people that I was seeing were obviously, diagnosed with cancer. They were very afraid, right? They're like, I can't come out, I can't be around somebody sick. If I get this disease, and I don't know what that means. So, because I'm deemed a medical kind of facility, I was able to stay open and just, do appointments as needed. And then I did do some virtual appointments as well. But as she stated, the pivot in business, we always got to be looking for ways to do things differently, continue to focus and stay forward. But it did teach me something, though. I needed to be, continue to stay ahead of things, right? And always think about how to be more creative as I move forward in this business and how to serve people, more effectively, because anything can happen.
Right. That's so true. I mean, I know for me, and I think that's how we met, Dr. Gamble, as when I
it was
worked
around the pandemic time. Yeah, somewhere around
Yes,
there.
it was pandemic, and it was how to create events that were fun and engaging. Because I had been stopped the weddings, Jennifer, baby. Y'all can have them. I had been stopped them, baby. I couldn't, because again, I was dealing with the $30,000-$40,000 bride, and
and that's poor in wedding talk.
Ooh.
That's really poor. And guess what? You want everything.
Money does not like core, and that's what people don't. That's where people, and that's why I don't go over there, because tell somebody with a straight face, you want to spend $50,000, and for me to tell you that's not enough money for one day, you gonna look at me like, I know you lying. And it's like, I'm not.
Wow.
I'm not lying to you.
You want to invite 150 people. You got to feed these folks, because having a large wedding, you're creating an experience for your guests.
Yeah.
And that is why I love the micro weddings. A lot of the weddings that we do are like less than 15 people. And I love them because you're able to create the experience that you want.
That you want for you. Yep.
And it's, we've been kind of, I posted on our social media, we've been kind of going back and forth. I love to troll, right? So I will say anything, because I love to get a reaction out of people. And I think that sometimes when you are on social media, people truly only create an engaging conversation around controversy. So I posted a video saying, if you are a bride, you need to pay for the bridesmaids' dresses.
I saw that. I love it.
Listen, baby, I don't care what y'all do. Who paying, who not paying, I do not care. But that I knew by me saying that, it was going to cause so much engagement from people who are either on such a far left or far right on the topic, that it was going to create this dialogue. And so it has worked, because the reality of it is, I don't care what you pay for or don't pay for, but it is your wedding. And I personally believe that the people that stand up with you on your wedding day should be the people who, when you are down in your marriage, that you would call them. And if that is not happening, then they should not be a part of your bridal party. Those should be the people who are holding you accountable across the board, not because you want a viral Instagram moment of having 15 bridesmaids and groomsmen and what dance we gonna do when we come out. What about this marriage? And so if you only had 2 to 3 bridesmaids, the chances of you being able to say, oh yeah, I found these dresses that was $100. I'm going to go ahead and take care of y'all dresses, you know, because y'all not going to wear these again. You could easily loop that into your budget. Like that wouldn't be a problem. But it's when you now want the 10, 15 bridesmaids that you have to get custom dresses, because my girls got to slay and we got to make 25 TikToks and Instagram reels, and we got to get to the shade room and everything else. You like, I'm not paying for that because they knew what they were getting when they signed up. Well, did you tell them how much it was going to cost before you asked them? Because that's the problem. When you ask somebody something, especially, and this can go for anything, when you ask somebody something in a public setting, the odds of them saying, well, how much is it going to cost first? You propose to all your bridesmaids at one time this big elaborate box, right? Will you my bridesmaid? It ain't like you put a piece of paper in there saying, hey, I want to go to Cabo for my bachelorette party. I want a bridal shower with chandeliers hanging and angels flying across the floor. I want a custom, you know, Essie dress made for y'all. That's gonna be $500. Everybody needs to have a slick back, bust down, jet black, 26-inch, you know, sew in. I want Malaysian hair for every. Like, you're not saying any of those things up front, so people are just saying yes. Then the issue becomes they get a bill after they've said yes. It's like a man take you on a date. Hey, I would love to take you out on a date. You get all dressed up. You get there. He like, order whatever you want. Come on, order, drink up, order. And then when the bill come, he like, you gonna pay, right?
Jennifer, I have a question for you. Do you do wedding etiquette? Do you teach that to people? Because what you're saying, I think some of us understand, because you brought up something like, you know, hey, I'm asking my girls to be with me for my special day. Everybody wants to be a part of the videos. Everybody wants to be popular. Everybody wants to be right there next to you. But my budget ain't lining up to what your expectations are going to be, because this is your day. It's not my day. I'm not getting married, but my bridesmaid dress is $500. My shoes are $200. My hairstyle is going to be $300 for the weave. The jewelry I got to do on my own. You want us to have certain things. But then you always hear the fallout with this, because you hear, you know, not only is she a bridezilla, you know, she done fell out with this one and she done had to recreate another bridesmaid and maid because of all of this. So are these things even taught? Is this?
I don't feel like it's talked about enough. I feel like that is something that I have started to create content on, because I feel like it is not talked about enough. And here's Lennox. Okay, my husband went to the store. So I feel like that's something that is not talked about. Okay, you gotta be quiet.
Right. Hi, baby.
Say hi. Okay, so I feel like that's something that's not talked about enough, because so many of the comments that we got on the reel that I posted said, well, they can always just say no. If they say no, now you're mad.
Now you're mad.
Yes.
And so the other, okay, hold on. And so the other part to it was, I made a post that says, stop putting broke people in your wedding and expecting them to have money all of a sudden because it's your wedding. And that one I knew was going to cause a tizzy.
Yes.
But the reason behind the post was, if you only put women and men in your wedding who you're close with, then you would know their financial situation.
Already.
So
Mommy,
Yes.
say cheese.
Cheese. So your expectation of your cousin would not be that she was gonna pay $500, $600, $700 for a dress
That
because
part.
you knew her financial situation.
Right.
Mommy.
Right.
See, and that's
I
where I
think you
feel like,
own the something, Dr. Gamble.
yeah, I see, and that's something that you could probably, because listen, I feel like so many people don't know this, and so hey, I'm not about to go into my wedding concerned about your budget. This is my day. It's about me, and I want to be happy. I want my pictures and everything to be good. But on the flip side, we know how many people probably walk down the aisle and they are truly ticked off because somebody
Yes.
backed out, somebody didn't have the right shoes. So she said, I'm not buying $200 shoes. I'm gonna get these $50 shoes.
Yep.
I don't care what you think, and then here we have the fallout. So,
Yep.
and again, when we talk about the stressors of that, this is supposed to be your happy day. You're supposed to be getting married, not be thinking about she got on the wrong shoes and she ain't got on the right necklace and her hair ain't the right way.
And stop making everything one size fit all.
Yeah.
Everybody don't need to wear a strapless, low cut,
back out.
and I get that you have this vision for your wedding, but it goes back to, you want me to pay for something that I'm not even comfortable in.
And I'm only going to wear it once, and it's expensive.
And people are like, well, the trolling comments have been hilarious. People are like, I sound like I just want to, what does man just tell me? You one of those people that come to weddings. I'm one of those people that come to weddings empty-handed, looking for free liquor and trying to see what else I can get.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, no, actually, you must have meant to tag your mama because that's who does that. But I mean, because baby, we can get spicy on this internet because if you as crazy as you want. But the point is, I think that if you get to the root of the problem, it's the people who you're asking to stand with you. Y'all are really not that close, so you don't know their ins and outs. Yeah. If you ask your close friend who you know is a single mom, 2 kids, never has a babysitter, why would you get mad at her because she can't come to every single event that you have going on? Or she can't go to Mexico when y'all go for your bachelorette party because she barely got a babysitter for the time of the wedding. Like
that one.
She's already trying to figure all the pieces out. But because y'all aren't close, you don't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's when the fallout happens, is when you really know we really ain't friends. We really ain't cool as I thought we were.
We ain't even that cool. Yeah. And I'm sure not cool with nobody. Cousin, sister. For me to pay $700 to be your bridesmaid.
Baby, I ain't getting married because I ain't pay that much for my wedding dress.
Listen, my wedding came from Walmart. My husband and I got married the day he left for deployment. We literally had hours. I got a little linen dress from Walmart. We only had to pay $22 for our marriage license because he was active in the military, and that was the end of it. And not to say that every wedding that I've been in, I have bought my dress. I have been the person to pay for that. Now that I've gotten older, I've realized like there is an etiquette to doing certain things, and it's just certain things that I don't agree with. Y'all want to sit up and talk about how you don't want to go 50-50 with no man paying no bills, but you want your homegirl to spend $1,000 each on your wedding, and it's insane to me.
No, that's crazy. That's ludicrous. No, and you got to think about, would you do it, right? And I think people have unrealistic expectations because they're being selfish. And then, not to mention that y'all turn around and got divorced 6 months later. But that's
or they'll say stuff like, "Well, if they were really your friends, then they would want to support you." It's unfair to equate somebody's friendship to how much financially they can benefit whatever you have going on. That's just like me telling my husband, "Well, if you really loved me,
Yeah.
I could just sit in here all day long and do a bunch of nothing and this, that. We got 3 whole children.
Yeah. No.
Wait,
3,
you say old children.
9, 11, and 3-year-old
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah.
This little one in here that just came in here, his daycare is literally $80 less than our mortgage.
Oh, I've heard.
Dang.
I've heard.
We
I've
pay
heard.
$80 more in mortgage for a brand new home that we just got built in 2020
Wow.
for what we pay for this child to go to daycare.
Yeah, I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
crazy.
I'm not even a broke friend, but I tell people when y'all start thinking about stuff y'all want to plan to do, put me in that category.
Yep, that's right.
I got too many kids.
Yep.
I always think this for broke.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's a lot. But when you think about it, it's a lot of whole anxiety around that too. When people can't afford it and they don't know how to have those conversations.
Correct.
Like one of
Y'all
our
not
actually one of our
friends.
speakers gonna talk about that. Like
Y'all
we
not
can't have that conversation because now you're not gonna be my friend and you gonna talk shit about me. Excuse me,
Yeah.
Instagram,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're gonna talk noise about me on the internet. You're gonna be mad because I don't want to do it when I'm looking at I'm about to be 48 years old. I have grandchildren. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know, it's like my best friend is a single mom to 6 children.
Ooh.
Her life and my life are completely different.
Yeah.
Right.
If I decided, you know what, I'm gonna talk to my man. Can you keep, you and the kids can be good this weekend because we're gonna take a girls trip. We're gonna be gone Thursday, come back on Sunday, blah 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 blah. I could say that on a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And that could happen. I cannot get mad at her because she cannot drop everything that she's doing.
Yeah.
And
Right.
go because she does not have the same in-house support that I have.
Right.
That is not a jab at her to make her feel less than. So if I wanted her to go, I'm going to make sure, hey, I think that we should, because our birthdays are right around the same time. So we start talking about our birthday. Hers at the end of May, mine is the start of June. In January, we like, okay, so what we doing about it? Like, this been my best friend since I was in the 3rd grade. So it's nothing that I wouldn't do for her or make sure that she had. But we start having these conversations because I don't want her to feel like a charity case. Oh, you got to do for no.
Right.
I want she take care of her business, take care of her kids. She's awesome. But I also know that everybody may not need financial help, but that doesn't mean that they have the in-house support either. So you can't expect people to drop everything for your wedding, for your personal problems,
for your business.
Listen, if you know, y'all were talking about beauty supply store here. If you sell luxury wigs and you know that your auntie has only ever bought that $30 wig from the beauty supply store, you cannot get mad that she don't buy a wig from you. She's not
absolutely. Right. That's right. And people do, they have it twisted because, and you hear that a lot. Oh, my people don't support me. My people, they're not your client.
They're not your client. They're your family and friends, but they're not your clients.
They're not your clients.
And that's okay. That is okay. Yeah. I have brides that reach out to me literally on the daily. Hey, I'm having a wedding. It's going to be 85 people, 75 people. Can you do this? And I say, no, you're not my client.
Yeah.
And I know the stress that's going to come. I have created a turnkey business to where if you reached out to me today and said that you wanted to get married tomorrow, we can marry you tomorrow, and it's going to look the exact same way it would if we married you in 6 months. Mm-hmm. Because that is how this machine runs.
Right.
Anything outside of that is not where I want to be as a mom that has small kids, that is nurturing a marriage, that's trying to grow other things. I don't want to take on that responsibility of what comes with that. Right. Yes, the money, there's going to be some additional money over there. But once you really start getting into it, you realize, baby, I did not charge you enough.
Yeah,
I did not charge you enough there. Because now you done got on my nerves. And now I'm just,
Yeah. It's too
what is my
much. That's
nerve?
why I can't fool with them. That's why I can't fool with them. I will do corporate. I would do my own. I would
Right.
do my
That's,
own. But I'm not fooling with them brides over there. I'm not fooling with those big elaborate events.
yeah.
Even for myself, my goal was 50 women in the room. 50 women. I don't want nothing bigger than 50 women. And I'll have people say, your goal's not high enough. No, my goals are just fine. Because I know that the people who are coming to speak can really impact 50 women as opposed to 100. Now, will it grow? It may grow to that. I don't know. I had over 100 people in the virtual one. That's fine.
Right.
You at home.
Yeah.
You ain't in my space. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And a lot of us don't
You
think
can
about
know
things like that.
what you can handle. So worst case scenario, your team don't show up.
Yeah.
Now you got to figure it out. You
Yeah.
okay, I know I can run this by myself. It truly came down to it.
Right.
And until you get to the point where you have certain things in place, you need to know your limits.
Exactly. Your capacity makes a difference in what you're doing. And I'm really glad that we're going to talk about that weekend as well, because we sometimes take on so much as entrepreneurs and even women in leadership. We don't know I know how to say no, but some people don't know how to say no. Like sometimes no comes up before you finish the sentence, and then you finish and like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can do that. But it's just automatic with the no, because I know what my capacity is. And so, y'all, as y'all can see, my people are spicy. I love it like that. Y'all see my title says disruptor, because we are disrupting what the status quo is for mental health and what we're doing in it. And so, Dr. Gamble, you're on the Mindful Entrepreneur panel. And on that panel, we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do to take care of your mind. Because again, the name of the conference is My Mind is My Business. And it literally is. You cannot function without your mind being okay. So share a little bit with the people, like what you'll be talking about a little bit on that panel.
Well, I guess it's just, really around knowing what your issues are and then knowing how to address them. Listen, we have to learn that you can't go to everybody with everything. You have to learn that. And so a lot of times I find people that are in these spaces, they want to talk to everybody. They want to talk to their mama and their sister and the neighbor and the girl at work. And they're getting a lot of bad advice. But you have to be very careful about about sharing everything with everybody and then taking all of that in, because ultimately you'll end up growing a bigger problem. That's one thing. And then two, learning when to. And we talked about this earlier. Like sometimes people don't want to address things. They want to, act like it doesn't exist, shove it under the rug, whatever that looks like. But learning when is it okay, and finding that safe space. So I think we really got to do a better job of letting people know that it is okay. It is really okay to not be okay. And then learning and understanding how to move forward.
Right. Oh, I love it. I love it. Like, I can't wait for us to talk about that, because y'all will be sharing some personal stories as it relates to that. As well as you too, Jennifer. You are on the authenticity and adversity panel. I already know that's going to be spicy, because all of y'all on there, y'all are spicy on there. But I love this panel as well too, because it's going to be very empowering, but y'all will get to talk to people about that whole imposter syndrome. Although you clearly had outward success, that it really shows up. So share a little bit about, just give them a little sneak peek, y'all, because they got to pay for the rest.
Listen, because one of the things that I love to share is that imposter syndrome, and in my case, mom guilt, have always gone hand in hand, because you have these aspirations and these goals and just really trying to figure out, am I giving too much to my business and not enough to my family? So then that also puts you in this mind frame of, when I do things for my family, am I being genuine or am I doing it out of guilt? And then that imposter syndrome starts to kick in. So I love to have these conversations with women and moms. And during the panel, I will share with them. I'm often asked the question, how do I balance everything? And I have a really easy way of how I do that. And I look forward. So y'all got to pay to come see all that and hear all that. So I look forward to sharing.
Don't drop that plate.
Exactly. I look forward
Right.
to sharing, you know, how I do that exactly. And it has been life changing for my life. In my mental
Yes.
state, I think that imposter syndrome is always going to be something that I probably battle with. And I'm okay with that only because that means that I'm constantly going to be entering rooms where I feel elevated, where I feel like the people there are so much more, because I don't ever want to be, you know, the top dog in the room. Like I don't want to be the
Right.
Beyonce of the room, you know, because it's
Ain't no
only
fun in that.
you
Yeah.
be like you know, somebody you gotta want to be around people that make you feel like, man, I need to level up. And I'm pretty sure it's very few people that Beyonce meet that she like, oh my God, like they just this, you know. And so I want to always surround myself, for the sake of, you know, conversation, with Beyonce's. So that I can always feel like, man, I need to step it up. I need to do more, because there's always more that we can do and improve on, even if that's just being more consistent. Because a lot of it is consistency. Like you see people out there killing it, and you think, dang. And we only see, when you meet somebody on social media and they're at their peak, you think, man, they getting to do all this stuff, and they always, but you didn't see the growth part of it.
Right.
And so I love social media for that aspect, because the people that have been friends with me on there, following me since before I ever even started my business, you know, they're like, to see it go from like, this is what you were doing, to like, that's my friend on Netflix. Like it's this huge jump. And so the support feels great. But this has been so good. Like I literally cannot wait. As soon as you told me that I was selected as a speaker, I think I emailed you back, or whoever I was emailing. I was like, look, I already bought my plane ticket and booked my hotel room. Like 45 minutes had passed. I was like, I'm on my way.
Yeah. And I appreciate you both traveling to come here. It's super exciting. And I want to let people know, like, y'all getting some real deal folks. And we ain't talking shop at this event. This is like none other. This is a mental health event like none other. We have very good people that are experts, but they're sharing their experiences with you. They're giving you tidbits of their life so that you can know that you can get through it, you can survive it. All of this, for me, this is a testament of my faith. This is the total faith walk as someone who struggles with a mental illness, that says that I can do this, and I want other people to feel like they can do it as well. So you ladies just help with this mission. Y'all help with this drive to be able to do this. And so all I can just say is thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot wait till next weekend to see y'all, and we get to have so much fun.
And I'm so sorry for getting, look, and like I said, I'm just watching the live. I'm like, okay, they're gonna tag me in just a minute. Like I'm finna keep listening, because this is so good. I'm like, people husband leaving them when they hair starts falling out. What? I'm just really sitting here listening to the live. I'm commenting. I sent you a DM, girl. Just let me know you ready for me.
I didn't even see that.
And I'm sitting here like, why don't you go to the app and read the instructions? And
there you go.
Click here. I said, oh Jesus.
But you joined just in time, and you
yes, it's all good. We still had a good conversation. We still had us a great conversation. I appreciate y'all time. I'm so looking forward to seeing y'all, and for us to just have so much fun. And for those watching, thank y'all for tuning in. Go get your ticket.
Get your tickets and come see us.
Yes,
it's gonna be great.
Get your ticket and come see us. So thanks again, ladies. I appreciate y'all so much.
See you next weekend.
Looking forward to it.